Hello my friends, welcome to the Wicked Bitter channel. I'm Travis. Thank you for checking out this video. If you are someone who is new to this channel, thank you for giving this video a chance. We would love to have you a part of our community. If you love WWE content, this is the channel for you. Please like this video, hit subscribe, and you're going to be in store for some good content here on this channel, honestly. I mean, we cover Raw, we cover SmackDown, we cover the PLEs, we do email videos where you send in your emails to me, I read them on video, and I post them for you to see my response on YouTube, and that's just how this partnership works. Everybody in the comments are cool. We all get along here. We all, even if we disagree, we're all cool. We're all respectful. I mean, it's truly a great community here. I think you're going to want to be a part of it. So hit subscribe and get ready for us talking about Monday Night Raw tonight. I got to get better at my sales pitch. But Monday Night Raw tonight. So unfortunately, this was, I think, a pre-taped show from last week's Raw, and so it's very hard to avoid spoilers, especially when you are on social media for a whole week. I mean, I can't go a whole week and not be on social media and not see spoilers, so unfortunately, I think a lot of what happened on Raw, we already knew kind of what was going to happen, but I will go through it. You know, I'm probably not going to hit on every single little thing that happened, but we will talk about some of the things, some of the major things that happened on Monday Night Raw. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez start out Monday Night Raw. They get in the ring. Everything on Monday Night Raw tonight was very short and sweet. Everything was to the point. Nothing dragged out. No prolonged promos. No 30-minute classic matches. Everything was just very bam, 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 bam. And it just, the backstage segments, everything was. So Liv comes out. She didn't say much. She just said that she didn't come alone. And then that's when Nia, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae came out, and they get in the ring. Nia gets on the mic, goes up to Raquel, she basically tells Raquel and Liv that she doesn't like them, but she doesn't not like them, and they kind of just mean nothing to her. And then she looks at the camera and she says that Jade and Bianca, they mean a lot to her, and she starts to talk about Jade and Bianca, but as she does that, here comes Jade, Bianca, and Naomi, and they also say that they didn't come alone. So Io Sky pops up. They all get into the ring. Liv Morgan is quick to point out, hey, I'm pretty smart here. I can do math. It's 5 versus 4 right now. Nobody's going to want to team up with you all. It's just us. So, who's going to throw the first punch? And then as she says that, Rhea Ripley has returned. Rhea Bloody Ripley is back. Of course, this is the major spoiler that's been all over the internet, so we all knew this was going to happen. There's not much surprise or shock for me, but she's coming down to the ring. She marches down there, gets in the ring, looks at Liv, she yells out WARGAMES, headbutts Liv, and then everybody brawls. And that's pretty much the way that whole segment ends. It's the good guy standing, Team Rhea or whatever. They're all, standing at the end here. That is pretty much that. Short and sweet, nothing crazy, nothing, too shocking or took us all off guard. No, it's all pretty simple. I will say that the women's War Games match this year feels a little forced to me. It's not that I think it's going to be a bad match. I actually think it's going to be a very good match, very entertaining. You have very good performers in that match, but it's one of these things where we kind of didn't need it. Liv and Nia, for some reason, are cool after they just face each other at Crown Jewel. They're all on the same team. I don't know. Tiffany Stratton has teased, cashing on Liv multiple times, but yet here they are, and Liv seems to be unbothered by all of this, and everybody kind of just seems to be working together here. I don't know. Same thing for the women, the other side of the women there, where Io was kind of targeting the tag team champions Jade and Bianca for a while there, and then all of a sudden they're all cool now. So I don't know. I just feel like it's going to be a good match. I just feel like to be brutally honest, we really didn't need 2 War Games matches. They're ready for the men's. I think it still should have been a 4v4, although the 5v5 is going to be fine. And for the women, it didn't even need to happen at all. But now that it is, it'll be a great match, I'm sure, but it kind of seems a little forced together. That's all I'm saying. We're going to skip around and not really spend too much time on much. Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega beat Ivy Nile and Chad Gable. After the match, Gable, the Creed brothers get in the ring. Gable's slapping around Julius Creed, is it? I forgot which Creed brother it is, but he's slapping him around. and then they all get intense, and then Gable's yelling at them like, yes, bring this every single week. This is what I want to see. And American Made is just, standing at the end of the match. Just, yeah, I don't know what the plan is with them. I honestly don't. I had high hopes. Maybe this might be it after he got them all riled up now and they're intense. Maybe this where we kind of turn the page a little bit. But it's looking like they're going to just be like another American Alpha where they're a good team. They got cool chemistry, but they just lose all the time. Nothing big happens out of that. Nobody wins titles. Gable all of a sudden has just given up completely on the IC title. The Creed brothers are not even close to sniffing the tag team gold. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're just here to be place fillers to fill out the roster. I have no idea, but that's the match, and that's what happened after the match. We get Judgment Day backstage. Liv Morgan and Raquel are, visibly upset. They're coming in there. They got into that big brawl. Finn tells them, hey, relax. Since you got a lot on your plate, let me take the wheel tonight. And then he quickly turns around to Dominic Mysterio and Carlito. Basically tells them, they're gonna show what they're all about when they take on the War Raiders tonight. And he's like, I know those guys for a very long time. I know their weaknesses. I know their strengths. He said, look, I'm going to give you some advice here. Go after their neck. That's their weakness. And he says, or if you do that, that'll really piss them off, and they'll end up destroying you. He said, but you're the great Dominic Mysterio. I'm sure you'll figure it out. And Dom says it's already figured out. So there is that tension between Dominic and Balor. I've seen rumors going around that Balor is just gonna kick Dom out. He's gonna probably kick Carlito out. We're looking at Finn and JD just going off on their own, or maybe just Finn going off on his own. Don't know at this point. Judgment Day, they've really fallen off. I feel like since losing Rhea and Damian, they could have done something cool with this group instead of making them just like job out to everybody. But I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do here. It looks like we're kind of gearing up for people to go their separate ways. And maybe it's time. Judgment Day had their run, and it was fine. But right now, maybe we need something fresh. And honestly, personally, I want to see Balor back in the main event picture. I want to see him fighting for main titles. I want him to bring back the demon paint. I want all of that back. Finn Balor is unbelievable. And I think he's just been kind of coasting, not doing much over the past few years. And I just really would like to see him back on top where he belongs. That's just how I feel. I will say this. The Miz and Karrion Kross stuff is growing on me. They had a nice little backstage promo. The camera angles were shot. Everything was shot so nicely. It was like a movie. Miz was talking about, of course, they both were talking about the Wyatts, and Miz was saying that, the Wyatts thought they could change me? Me? It's true. Miz is a heel to the core, and this is great work here. He and Karrion looked great in this promo. The rest of Final Testament wasn't here. It was just Miz and Karrion Kross talking about the Wyatts as the camera would cut and show flashbacks or situations that happened with the Wyatts, their involvement and everything. I thought it was great. This feud is actually better than I think a lot of people expected it to be, and if people are not on board with it yet, just wait until they actually have their match. I think it's gonna turn a lot of people's opinions around. This is great. I like what Miz is doing here. I don't quite know what the end game is here for Miz and Kross, but right now I do enjoy what we're getting out of Miz and Karrion Kross. I think it's very entertaining, and the Wyatts are playing into it too, which they have a vignette later on. And yeah, I think I'm on board with it. I don't know where it's going, but I'm here for it. Gunther and Kaiser backstage. Gunther tells Kaiser, look, this is not what I meant when I said for you to show me and to stick up for yourself. That's not what I'm talking about. I want you to stand on your own. So from this point forward, I want you to be your own man. I want you to stand on your own here. Go do your own thing. We don't have to be attached at the hip all the time, basically, in a nutshell is what happened there. And Kaiser's, he's cool with it. He's like, all right, fine. You know what? You're right. I'll do that. And then before he goes away, Gunther asks him to look into his eyes and tell him what he sees. And I couldn't help but say the Cult of Personality while I was in bed. I couldn't help but singing it. I was like, that's kind of what that line makes me think of. And honestly, I wonder if that was kind of just he said that as a foreshadowing thing where, it means that his next feud or something is going to be with Punk. Because you remember when, before Punk showed up, we were getting a lot of one-liners dropped by Seth that CM Punk used to say, in his promos or something. And everybody was just like, are they messing with us or is this for real? I wonder if this was kind of the same thing here with Gunther, him saying, look into my eyes, what do you see? Maybe it's kind of hinting that he and Punk will be going next. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just thinking that way. Maybe it's just the CM Punk and Gunther fan in me that wants to see it happen. But he asks him, do I look like the same old Gunther that I've always been? And Kaiser said, of course. He's like, all right, cool. Word. I'll see you later, bro. And then they kind of bumped, and then that was it. Kaiser left, and then for some reason here, Gunther sees Priest sitting maybe 10 feet away, 15 feet away. And he takes his jacket off, and he attacks Priest from behind, gets him in a sleeper hold. Priest breaks free. Gunther tries to hit him with a pipe, and I think Priest hit him in the nuts. I think he kicked him in the nuts. I'm not sure. Priest, Gunther first initially grabbed his leg, but then he started putting his hand over his midsection, so maybe it was. But Priest says to Gunther, "Hey man, you know what? In the ring, you are a general, but in the streets, I'm king." And Priest comes, Pierce comes up to try to, see what happened here. Nothing. Priest all cool. Hey, man, you just having a word with your champion. And then he kind of walks away. And that's that. I just find it weird that Gunther was basically yelling at Kaiser 10 feet away, and Priest didn't hear any of this. And then nor did he hear him coming. It's WWE. Hey, we just got to shut things off sometimes and just roll with it. And that's what that whole thing was. I just feel like everything was just very low effort as far as being really, I guess not complex, but basic. Everything was so basic tonight. The promos, the matches, everything. And I get it. It was pre-taped, but it's kind of tough when we all want to get together and talk about it, and it's not like anything really crazy happened for us to really talk about. So I'm just delivering to you what I always do every single week, and then we just kind of all know that this show wasn't really anything spectacular. Sheamus and Braun Breaker have an Intercontinental Championship match that was actually a pretty good, solid match, but it ends up ending in DQ when Kaiser comes out and he attacks Braun Breaker, and then after that he runs and does a drop kick into the stairs of Sheamus. He ends up yelling to Sheamus that he won't stop until Sheamus is gone, and that's how that match ends. So I'm thinking maybe we're going to get a triple threat between the three at some point here, maybe at Survivor Series, or maybe they just do it on a Monday Night Raw. Survivor Series, there's going to be 2 War Games matches, and those matches are usually pretty long. WWE's only been rolling out 5 matches per pay-per-view lately, so maybe that Intercontinental Championship feud or match will happen on Raw instead of Survivor Series, which is cool. But at the same time, you want Breaker to feel like a big deal, and you want to have your big champions on the pay-per-views, PLEs, but it's fine. Him being on Raw is fine. Sheamus is a good opponent for him. Kaiser's a good opponent for him. Let's just see where that whole, rivalry goes. Can't forget Butch. Maybe he'll be added in there somewhere. Who knows? We're kind of testing out. We're seeing where things go with these three. We get Jimmy J and Sami coming up to Rollins again backstage, trying to talk to him, and Jay's like, "Hey, man, can you please just put your differences aside just for one night? That's all we're asking." Sami reiterates, hey, you did it last year. You were in there with me and Jay. You put your differences aside with Cody Rhodes, and you have a lot of bad blood with him. Can you just do it again for one more night? Just one night with us and Roman. And Seth says, "Hey, look, man, I got no problem being side by side with you, Sami, you, Jimmy, you, Jay, but I will never, ever be side by side but with that tyrant Roman Reigns. Never going to happen. And it hurts me to say it, but it's never going to happen." And then he ends up saying, "Good luck, but I'm out." And that was that. He shuts him down again. I have my own little thoughts here. Ultimately, I think probably Roman or Seth Rollins will join their bloodline match, especially what happens later on. But it would be kind of cool if they did a little twist and they brought someone else in as the 5th member as a surprise or something, a Brock Lesnar or even CM Punk or something like that. That would be pretty cool, but I'm not going to hold my breath on it. It's probably most likely going to be Seth Rollins, and that's just how the cookie crumbles, as they say. The War Raiders defeat not JD McDonough, Carlito, and Dominic Mysterio, but after the match, JD McDonough and Finn Balor show up and attack the War Raiders, and they end up standing tall. I don't know what we're doing here. Maybe we're going to get this feud. I don't know why Finn and JD needed to get involved afterwards. Maybe to show Dom and Carlito, hey, look at us. We beat up on the War Raiders and you guys couldn't beat them. Maybe that's where they're going to go with it, but who knows? I'm not going to go much into that. Short and sweet. Got a couple of notes here from the Wyatt backstage vignette that actually started to play after Finn and JD were raising their hands in the ring, where it's a backstage vignette, and it's just Bo Dallas basically talking to the camera, and the way his hair is, the way his beard looks, he looks exactly like Bray in this promo. It's crazy. It's uncanny how close they look like one another here. He ends up saying some things like, "I offered you freedom from the pit. I tried to warn you. I'm sorry for what happens next. You chose this. You will lose what matters most. I never wanted this." Yeah, I think it's still targeted to Miz because they did show Miz earlier in that vignette. I don't know why it wouldn't be. I don't think the Wyatts and the Final Testament are moving on yet from one another, so I fully expect this to be an actual feud, or else Miz being with the Final Testament makes no sense. So I'm going to take it as he's talking about the Miz, and I like this vignette. Again, it was something simple. It wasn't anything complex. The other Wyatt members weren't even there for it. It was just them. Everything was just very low scale for this show, and but it got the job done. It did what it needed to do. Time for our main event, Bronson Reed versus Seth Rollins, and pretty much as the match starts, it wasn't long at all before Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and Jacob Fatu show up at ringside, and then immediately jeyuso's song hits, and out comes Jey, Jimmy, and Sami. They fight off Solo's bloodline. We get a good match here from Rollins and Reed. Reed was kicking out of some great moves at one, very impressive there. And then Rollins goes up to the very top of the turnbuckle to try to put him away, and Solo Sikoa shows up on the announce table, distracts Seth Rollins. Bronson Reed hits Seth with a Death Valley driver, a couple of sentons, and then a tsunami. He gets the 1-2-3 for the win. Solo gets in the ring after the match. He raises Bronson's hand, and that's how the show ends. So, again, everything pretty cookie cutter, pretty simple on this Monday Night Raw. It got the job done. I'm hoping we get a better SmackDown, and I'm also hoping we get a better Raw next week. I didn't want to cover every single little aspect. I don't think it really needed it, but the big things happened that we talked about were great. It was fine. Let's see how this progresses. We are just it's not this Saturday, it's the next Saturday for the PLE, so I'm hyped. I think Survivor Series is going to be great. We still need to figure out what's going on with Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins, the fifth member. Everything's all good. So hopefully the next few episodes of Raw and SmackDown aren't like this. We need more hype going into the PLE, but we'll see. That is the video for today, guys. I would love to do an email video. If you want to send in your emails, wickedbittermedia@gmail.com. Send them in. I'll answer them. I'll make another video. We'll talk about it. All your questions, concerns, opinions, whatever you want to send them in. We'll get it done here at this channel. That's what we do here, my friends. Okay, you guys have a good rest of your week. We will be out with another video very soon, I am sure. Until we yeet again, my friends, as always, stay bitter.